Easy ways for a tradie to be able to build rapport with the client?
There's a small number of traits. There's about 8 for building instant rapport. If they learn those, they can see that in the person's face and know straight away how much space they need. Because I know both of you, when I look at you, you'll come up and stand close to somebody when you meet them for the first time, which means you both come across as very friendly.
Yep.
But you've got other people who need a bit more space. If you recognise that in their face, instead of coming in and standing too close to them and making them feel uncomfortable where they're not listening to you now, it's all about their comfort, you give them extra space and they feel comfortable straight away. But if they came up to you and stood the distance they wanted to stand away from you, you'd go, what's going on? Why are you standing so far away? And you'd step in and they'd be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So just getting that first connection, makes that other person feel comfortable. They're open to listening to what you're saying. And there's a few more traits in looking at, well, how much information do you give them? How do you deliver it to them? And if you do that, you're instantly talking their language and you've got instant rapport with them.
Could you give us a simple example?
Can I cut in? I can give you a perfect example. I remember, we can edit this out, right? But anyway, it doesn't matter. But I remember once, we had this discussion, and I went into a job, and this guy wanted some bathrooms done and some air cons and some robes and that sort of thing. And it was only a sort of shortish sort of guy and that sort of thing. And anyway, so I walked in and I felt as if I was following this guy around the room, like he was just keeping a distance. And then I thought back, and there was something that you touched on in your training, and I noticed the speech was on his face. So what I did is I actually stood back then and stood pretty much at the other end of the room, and then let him follow me around for a while. And in the end, he was right beside me. And then we'd sort of worked out, and I'd gotten out of his space, and it helped me really understand sort of.
Oh, wow.
And see, in that particular trait, it's in the height of the eyebrows. You notice that Mark's eyebrows and yours and mine are very close to our eyes. There's very little gap between the top of the eye and the eyebrow. Whereas some people, they're right up here.
Yep.
The bigger the gap, the more space the person needs.
So John Howard needed a lot of space.
Don't get me started on politicians.